Good morning, friends. One of the great stories of the New Testament is the story of John Mark, who had an experience in his life where he was a failure when he accompanied Paul and his cousin Barnabas on what is called the first missionary journey, Acts 13 and 14. But John Mark was to go on and recover, get his wits back, and later would become very useful to the Apostle Paul. There are times in life where also we may make a mistake, we may have a failure, and the great thing about life and about the grace of Jesus Christ is that we're given another opportunity. One of the strangest football games in college history is the 1929 Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Georgia Tech was playing UCLA, and UCLA had the ball in its own 25-yard line when the running back for UCLA fumbled the ball, and Roy Riggles from Georgia, the team captain, recovered the fumble and began running. To evade a tackle, he spun around and in spinning lost his sense of direction and thought he was heading for the goal line to score a touchdown, but what actually he had done was turn around and begin running the other way. His teammate Bernie Lom saw what was happening, and Bernie Lom began chasing him down the field, yelling at him, trying to get him to stop, and couldn't get him to stop. 75 yards later, on the 1-foot line, Bernie Lom finally caught Roy Riggles and tackled him, just short of Riggles having scored a touchdown for UCLA. Well, because Georgia Tech was so deep in the hole, it had to kick out of the end zone. UCLA blocked the kick, scored 2 points, and that was to be ultimately the margin of victory, as UCLA won that game finally by a score of 8-7. At halftime, Roy Riggles sat in the locker room beside himself, and when the coach called the team to go back on the field, Riggles simply sat with his head in a towel and inconsolable. All the team left to get back up into the stadium, but when the coach went over to Roy Riggles, he said, I could never go back. I've let you down. I've let the team down. I've let the University of Georgia Tech down. I could never go back. And the coach put his hand on Roy Riggles and said to him, get back in the game. It's only half over. And they say that Roy Riggles played the second half like a man possessed. They didn't win the game, but he acquitted himself by getting back into the second half and playing like a champion. Sometimes that happens to us in life. We take the ball, get confused, and run the wrong direction. And it's important that we not let that become an occasion for permanent grief or depression in our life, where we say, well, what's the use? I really messed up bad, and I could never get things straightened out again. The great news of the gospel of Jesus Christ is that Jesus has come into life to give us a chance to do things right, to live again. And maybe you messed up at some point in your life, but the good news of the gospel is that in Jesus Christ there is a starting over point. He is the one who makes all things new, and he promises to make you new if you commit your life to him as well.